What is going on, Sooner Nation? Welcome back. Sooner Surge live tonight on this Friday night. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Got the usuals on here. Already got the comments rolling in here. Hunter with us right now. Waiting on Jeremy. Don't know yet. Been doing some family stuff with our dad. So we'll see on that. If he's going to join us here in a little bit or not, we'll see. Hunter's got his Eagles hat on, representing another week away. But the big news today is it sounds like OU has made a hire in Nate Dreiling, also Wes Goodwin as an analyst. And I want to get to the comment. Colin says it, and then also Jim K here says it. And I think they're right in this aspect is like everybody's talked about. Is Brent Venables on the hot seat? Well, sounds like if he is, then he's going to go down with him calling the defense, because it doesn't sound like Dreiling or Goodwin will be making calls on defense. It sounds like it would probably be Brent Venables.
Yeah, seeing some of the comments tonight, people shocked by that, almost how it seems of, I mean, until that whole Jim Knowles thing, like, what did you expect? Like, it's going to be Brent calling it when Zach Alley left. I mean, Brent basically called it for the last 3 years as is. So why would that change? The only way that changes is if you bring in somebody like Jim Knowles. They weren't able to do that. He chose Penn State. So again, I don't have an issue with the reported hire. I think that's a fine hire. I mean, Dreiling's moved up the coaching ranks quick in these 10 years from where he started as a GA to eventually being a DC at D2 level to FCS level to now FBS level. Interim head coach this past year at Utah State. Didn't work out, but he got hired at Arkansas State as defensive coordinator 28 days ago.
Hey, and a couple of things. First off, didn't open with it, but I need to say it because I've been watching a lot of stuff about it tonight. The plane crash in Philadelphia, I mean, just awful situation. It seemed just 2 nights ago we were talking about another plane crash. Just prayers out for everybody involved. It's not just the victims on the plane. There's a lot of other issues with the houses and everything, that it's just a lot of people there. So prayers out to everybody on that. And then I got to say, some of these comments, this one here by Ron about, as I said many times, BV will never give control. And somebody said, let me see if I can find it. I'm fine, good with BV calling the D. Guys, you mentioned it, Hunter, with Jim Knowles. They weren't going to go after, like, if Brent Venables is going to call the defense, he's not going to go get some big-time coordinator to come here and to OU and not call the defense. Like, if it's Brent Venables' defense to call, you knew it was going to be hires like what they got, guys that can coach. The weird thing to me, though, is they hired Goodwin as an analyst, and you know that he coaches linebackers. And so does Dreiling.
Well, yeah, you have unlimited analysts now.
I get it. That's just, it's going to be, they got a lot of linebacker coaches. I mean, so.
I don't think that's a bad thing, in my opinion. I don't think they went cheap either, as Ron says in the chat. I think that's a thing. I think Oklahoma really has needed to step up that analyst game. Not sure what the hold up and the stoppage was there on that, if that's an administration thing or if that was a Brent Venables thing of him not wanting to have as many analysts as some programs you see. But I don't think you can ever have too many analysts. I think it's only going to help you, especially with now how they can coach as well. The big thing that they can't do is there's limitations on them going out to recruit.
Well, here's the thing. And before I get to what I'm going to say, I got to say the only way this works for Brent Venables is if Arbuckle's really good coach offensively. And he's not going to, because Brent Venables will be involved quite a bit with the defense. So it's going to have to work offensively. And the other thing is this, to me, it might be time to bring in a couple more analysts to help with game management and everything else that Brent Venables is going to have to do, because there's a lot on your plate to call a defense and to be a head coach. I mean, there is.
I agree with you. I would imagine that they're probably, for the most part, done on the defensive analyst side of the ball. I couldn't imagine them bringing in anyone else. But, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with having too many different perspectives in there, people to help out in terms of game prep and everything else. I mean, coaching of the linebackers in general, I don't see it as a negative in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and Stevie G, thanks for joining, says, since we went cheaper on DC, I hope we spend money on elite dudes in the spring portal. I think the question would be, how many guys do you think they'll get in the portal? And, yeah, if you get guys in the portal, they need to be guys that hit, especially, you know, spring portal. You're so close. I mean, you don't have all of the winter workouts. Hopefully you get a guy that's really, because it's not the thing with the portal, in my opinion, is this isn't, I mean, it's not NFL. I mean, guys still have to learn different skin, especially on D. If you get defensive guys, Brent Venables it's not an easy defense just to walk in there and learn. There's been guys been in there 2-3 years still trying to figure it out. So,
yeah,
I mean, so and then I got to say this, Sergeant Lincoln, I hope so.
If that's the case,
I hope he's another Tebow.
If that's the case, that means it's going to be pretty good for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I would take it.
I mean, seriously, because Daniels talked about it a lot. He was on that 2014, 2015 team where Josh Heupel, Norvell were let go as OCs in 14. Lincoln Riley comes in and it changed everything. They went to the playoffs immediately in year one, and then had a stretch of greatest offenses college football has ever seen. So if it's anything like that, that means Oklahoma's winning a lot of football games, and OU fans are not going to have much to complain about in that scenario.
Yeah. We need an Urban Meyer, not Tebow. What are you guys on? No, I'm talking about OC. I'm talking about OC, and I know Urban Meyer could call plays too, but
I'm lost on the criticism here. Like, if that's what you're trying to pull, like that, like, I mean, you can not like Lincoln Riley all you want, but truth of the matter is he was a fantastic offensive coordinator at Oklahoma and won 55 games in 5 years as a head coach at OU as well. Yeah, pretty good if you ask me.
Hey, and here's the thing, and I understand Dreiling probably going to be a pretty good recruiter. Goodwin's the same way. The Goodwin, you know, he can recruit, but here's the thing: if Brent Venables isn't around 2 to 3 years, those hires aren't going to really be valuable in recruiting. I mean, you've already missed this cycle for this last year. So, I mean, this all needs to work out, period. It needs to work out. Brent Venables. And guys, I've said it for months now. I think the defense is going to be good no matter who they hire. If Brent Venables calls it, I think it's going to be a good defense. We'll see how many wins it equals for them, because the schedule's brutal. I'm interested to see how Brent Venables handles everything, because now you're going into the SEC year 2, really hard schedule, new offense, and you're going to be calling the defense with additional new coaches that you haven't coached with in a while. I mean, Goodwin he's coached with, but not Dreiling. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out. I hope it works out.
The benefit that they do have is it's now year 2 in the SEC. Schedule, for the most part, the exact same. More difficult than it was a year ago. But to understand that, I mean, looking at that SEC schedule from a year ago, it was without a doubt one of the top 3 toughest, if not 1 or 2. I think it was between Oklahoma and Florida with the toughest schedules. But you looked at a few games on there of, okay, like those might be games that could bode well for Oklahoma in terms of SEC opponents, particularly Auburn, South Carolina. Auburn took them till, I mean, they were trailing most of that game. Kip 6, as they call it, was the difference there. And it was on the road, a very tough place to play on the road. And then South Carolina, I mean, completely exceeded expectations a year ago. Lenore Sellers, and guess what? He's back. Dylan Stewart as well. That defense isn't going to miss a beat, and it's on the road this next year. But they do have a benefit of knowing exactly what they're getting into. And again, for me, I think there's two areas outside of obviously them having to prove it, but two areas of concern on the roster. One being offensive line. Again, that's the area where they really have to prove it.
Yeah.
Offensive line. It has to be better. You cannot have stretches of the season where your quarterback's getting sacked. Back-to-back weeks was a school record of sacks allowed. I mean, you can't have that. You can't win football games that way. And then I think the other area of concern, which I'm going to say they're going to address it in the spring portal, is linebacker depth. Because they lost some guys to the portal this past year, guys that they weren't planning to lose, specifically Deshaun McCullough and Lewis Carter. They did bring in Kendall Daniels, which is a big help there, but they also, with two of the younger guys in that room, James Nesta is going to be playing baseball. So how much spring football, winter workouts, all of that are you really going to get? And again, I know Daniel talked to him about it, of kind of what he understood of all the kind of juggling baseball and football, how they do it at OU. For Nesta, it's going to be a little bit different because he's a pitcher. I cannot recall a player recently, at least for Oklahoma, that was a pitcher. Though pitchers are a lot different because they have strict routine schedules, all of that makes it a little bit more difficult than your typical fielder to be able to go back and forth between football and baseball in this time. And then also Marcus James is a true freshman, early enrollee. So that's two of their, I believe, 7 linebackers right there that are one young, two for Nessa at least. It's going to be difficult for him to get a good spring ball in.
Yeah. Hey, let me get to some of these comments. Drilling is Kansas JUCO connections. Correct, Tone Loke. Bryce, 1 in 10. How hot's BVC? It's gone. There is no C, 1 in 10. Okay. Urban better than BV? Urban, of course. I mean, Urban.
He won multiple national championships. I'm not sure what you're trying to make there.
I saw Chester's comment. Maybe it was Chester or Sooner Freak. Let me see. And Joe says, why do you keep saying this all? I know, Joe. I don't know why I say things, Joe. I'm not sure. Some things just come out of my mouth on this live show, and that's what came out. This is what I was wanting to get to. Chet says the schedule isn't as hard as we think, in my opinion. Many of them new quarterbacks. You're right about the quarterbacks. You're right about that. There are a lot of new quarterbacks, but
it's still you're looking at teams that were either successful a year ago. I think just about every team Oklahoma's facing is going to have good quarterback play, at least in the conference terms, new quarterback or not. And then also factoring in, I mean, those road environments that Oklahoma is going to have. Not easy places to play on the road.
Yeah, and I don't see any way that happens, Timothy, him playing both ways. I don't. And back to Joe, maybe the reason I'm saying what I am about this has to work out is maybe because a lot of people don't think it has to work out this year. A lot of people think he's got multiple years. I think he's got to win this year. Maybe that's why I'm saying it. I think he needs to win this year personally. And I'm not saying he has to win 10 games, but they definitely got to win 8 games, I would think. I mean,
I would imagine 8 is the minimum. And again, they can make a different decision based than what.
Yeah, they could. I'm just saying I would like to see 8 wins.
Well, yes, we're saying our opinions of how many games we think he needs to win to not be a question of job security for him.
Go spend the excess $3 million that we didn't spend on those and take one of the top programs. The players make the coach go get guys and just put them in position to make plays. Are you saying go get guys from the top programs? I think that's maybe what Fit with Fry is trying to say. Mac says Nesta needs to decide. Agree or disagree?
I completely disagree. Elite athletes playing two sports at the college level or anything college or above is very difficult to do. I think he has a bright future in both sports. I think both sports are pretty even in terms of, I mean, you look at him on the football field. He was a 4-star recruit. That's pretty good. That means a lot of people that do nothing but evaluate talent at the high school ranks think he's going to have a chance at the NFL and maybe even be successful in that. And then you look at the baseball side of things. Perfect Game was all over him. I believe he was like a 9.5 or a 10 at one point.
Yeah.
Could have. I think you look at him from the baseball side of things on the mound. He's throwing 92 in high school. A good repertoire, good RPMs as well for him. If he wasn't playing football, I think there's a chance he gets drafted either in high, for sure gets drafted somewhere in high school, maybe even a signable draft pick, or maybe a highly sought after high school or college baseball prospect at that point, to where just about everyone in the country would want him for just playing baseball.
Yeah, what about Jonah Williams at Texas? I wonder what he's going to do. He's really talented.
Jonah Williams is.
I mean, what's he going to do? Play both?
I talk highly. I think Nesta and Taylor Tatum are both very talented two-sport athletes.
Not Jonah Williams, though.
Jonah Williams is on a different level.
I agree.
What he's able to do, sweet lefty swing as well, baseball. And again, I mean, he finished as I think consensus 5-star this recruiting class.
Okie Lawn's asking for tickets to the Hoops game. Who's going? Jen asked in the chat, who's going? I will not be there tomorrow, but hopefully this is the game you got to win, period. I mean, we don't even need to talk about it. They have to win the game. It's Vanderbilt. They have to win. We'll see what happens. They're in Norman.
Lane, he plays both middle infield and outfield, second base, outfield. Again, very talented baseball player. Last year, when he was still in high school, was playing in the Hank Aaron game around All-Star Weekend. I believe that one was in Atlanta where the Braves play. So very talented player. In Oklahoma, I think they're going to have a very good year on the baseball field this year with that rotation that they have on the top end with the Witherspoon brothers, and then just what I was able to see in fall ball, middle infield as a whole. I think they have a lot of dudes there where it's going to be interesting on who starts at certain positions, second base in particular, maybe even one of the outfield positions as well as first base. So,
yeah. Some of these comments. Hey, before we move on, make sure you check out the Fan Stop, www.thefanstop.com. Officially licensed merchandise. Check them out. You can use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Make sure you sign up by February 20th if you want the St. Patrick's Day shirt from March. Really good looking shirt. Make sure you check them out at thefanstop.com.
Real quick, as I throw that up there for a few seconds, sorry about that, Jay. After that, I'll respond to a comment.
Yeah, there it is right there. Good looking shirt. That's for March. Sign up by February 20th to get that shirt. It is awesome. Go out to my mailbox about the first few days of a month and get my new shirt. Can't beat it. It's great. Hey,
yeah, I'm going to respond to this.
Yeah.
First off, Jeremiah Smiths do not grow on trees. Like, seriously, you're talking about one of the best freshmen in a long time. Like, what he was doing, that's not normal. Freshmen are not supposed to be able to go out there and instantly be the best player on the field. That was the case. Again, people could be upset with some of the recruits that Oklahoma is or is not landing. To say that they need to go get a guy like Jeremiah Smith, like, that's hard to do. There's not many of them. I mean, you're lucky if there's one in a class.
But, they had CeeDee Lamb, which was really talented.
Well, yeah.
And
he's an all pro now.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that's what fit with Fry's saying. They need to go get a playmaker like that on the off. They haven't. I mean, who's been the best playmaker on offense in the last, maybe under Brent Venables with Levy? Who's been the best playmaker on offense in your opinion?
I would say Marvin Mims.
What?
I would say Marvin Mims.
Well, he's tearing it up, now. But if you remember his last year at OU, remember the drops and stuff.
Well, he had drop issues, but he was.
And then Gabriel missed him a lot when he was wide open.
He was still good.
He was great, but I don't think he got to live up to his potential based off either Gabriel missing him on the deep ball or different things. I mean, I wish we could have seen it even more. There were some games you're like, how come they haven't thrown in the ball? You remember that? It's like, get the ball, Marvin Mims, please.
I would also say Andrew Anthony was really good before he got injured. That first half of the season in 23, he had a really good year and then got injured and wasn't able to recover. And best of luck for him as he goes to Duke in his final year of eligibility.
Yeah. Best player was Bowman. I mean,
great week down in
he's had a great week. He has.
How
much do you think it's helped his status as far as NFL?
I think it's solidified him as a middle rounder.
You don't think it's moved him up any?
No, solidified and potentially move him up.
I think it's moved him up.
I think his biggest concern, a lot of people talk about it, is not as big of a safety you're accustomed to, especially translating to the NFL. And with the week that he's had this week, I think he proves otherwise, that it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to go out there and make plays. And I mean, that's the place where every NFL scout that matters is at this time in January. They're down in Alabama at that Senior Bowl, so everyone's there watching him. And I would imagine that he has a good combine and pro day in the coming weeks. Yeah.
The house plug says now. I'm not sure if that was to go with another comment. I'm trying to figure it out. The debauchery we put out at skill position was absolutely abysmal. And we talked about Nick transferring to LSU. He couldn't make a play against Kansas. Well, I'm interested to see how Nick does at LSU. I am intrigued.
I think he will have a good year if he can stay healthy. Yes. The Anderson quarterback in general, if they can stay healthy, they are really good. I mean, he was a freshman All-American in 2023.
Yeah.
798 yards, 10 touchdowns. I mean, he had a great year.
How about Stoops?
What about Stoops?
Didn't he get signed?
Drake?
I believe so today.
Is he going to the UFL or something?
I saw it on I saw Lincoln Riley post a story about it. But I'm trying to I need to verify. It was just right before the live I saw it and I thought, and I didn't even glance to see all the details behind it.
I have not seen anything, Joe.
So
I know he was drafted.
There it is. Signed to the Rams.
Yeah, he's been with the Rams on practice squad.
I know, but signed. That's all I'm saying.
He's been signed. It's just on the practice squad. It's one of those. I know what I found the article that Bryce is talking about of saying signed to the Rams. It's because it's off season. The verbiage kind of changes there.
Yes,
it's already with the Rams. So,
Selene, thanks for joining. Selene says, any update on OU players who were injured last season or continuing with OU football for the upcoming season? Well, that would be a guy like Gibson. We'll see how he. Barnes got injured at the end of the year. I mean, you go down the list. There's a bunch of them. The truth is, like, until you see them out in the field and see how healthy they are, I don't know. I mean, I think Gibson could be really good, but to me, it's not even spring. He can have a great spring, but I need to see him in game action. You know what I mean, Hunter? Because 14 catches a year and a half ago, whenever that was, not last year, but the year before. Yeah, he made huge plays when he played and caught balls, but you need to see more of it, I think, to really feel like, okay, this guy's ready to go. He's back from injury, all that stuff. I'm more concerned about tight end and O-line. That's my two concerns on offense.
Correct. those are the big question marks. Tight end, I mean, it was very bad a year ago, and in my opinion, they did not do nearly enough to address the issues that they had there in 2024. Lane, if you're referring to Deshaun McCullough, he is not. He transferred.
Yeah,
not sure another player from Indiana you could be talking about.
Yeah, Fit with Fry said, why didn't we go get Zachariah Branch? Hey, I would have loved Zachariah Branch too, Fit with Fry. I'm in the same boat there. I was wanting OU to go after him, but they didn't. Is there a special teams coach? Same coach as last year, Kayla. They haven't made any changes. Same one. I'm trying to remember pronounce his name. How do you pronounce it?
I'm drawing a blank right now.
It's with the D. It's with the
Doug Deacon.
Deacon, yeah, Deacon. That's it. Doug Deacon, double D. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I did that. I did that a month ago, Hunter. There, you turn your camera. I did that a month ago, and people lit me up for it.
Did it a month ago, and you do it again tonight.
I know, but I didn't completely say it tonight.
Close enough.
Johnson dropping his lost cause for BV. Joe C, most overrated AD. Lucky women's sports are good. They make so much money. But the women's sports don't make so much money. I think you're being sarcastic, right, Johnson? I think you are. Yeah. Hey, so did you watch any of the Pro Bowls? Did you watch anything with Burrow throwing or anything of the quarterback stuff?
I saw brief highlights today on NFL Live. I was watching the OU women's basketball game.
Hey, there's two things that will never be the same, in my opinion. And some of these viewers in here, well, Hunter, this has you won't know anything about these, so you can just sit back and cover you won't even know these things I'm talking about. You're too young. But some of our viewers,
Pro Bowl in Hawaii.
No. What I was going to say is there's two things that you will never get back that will never be matched. One of them is the old NFL quarterback challenge. Hunter, do you know what I'm talking about? The answer is no, you don't.
With Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
No, before those days, man.
Okay.
The true NFL quarterback challenge with golf carts driving across the field and people throwing.
Yeah, I've seen the videos.
It was way better back then. Okay. And the other thing is,
if they're going to go back to the skill part of it, like there's no reason they shouldn't have that. That's entertaining to watch.
It's great. The other one is this, Hunter.
The dodgeball game.
The other one is this. American Gladiators. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard of it, yes.
Oh my gosh. If you're a viewer on this channel and you ever watched American Gladiators, drop it in here. Drop me your favorite character from American Gladiators. That was an epic show. My week with Assault was the greatest game ever. I used to play Assault. You can ask Jeremy when he joins or when next time he's on here. We played Assault in our house. It was great. We set up a whole thing about it. It was awesome. Jousting, all of it. Man, it was some good times, Hunter. American Gladiators was the best.
First off,
Turbo. Yes.
Real quick. How were you guys jousting in your house?
Nice. Hunter, we can do what do you mean? How are we jousting?
Yeah, like how were you doing it?
Pillows, man. It's like pillows, buddy.
And just hopping around the living room?
No, we made this little thing you had to stand on and balance, and you're hitting people off. But Assault was the best game. Titan. Man, people are Nitro and Turbo. Titan. Turbo. Oh, my goodness. Great stuff. Memories, man. Memories. I have not seen the 30 for 30. Wait, there's a 30 for 30, and I have not seen that? Jeez. I got to get watching that. Hey, while we're at it, though, let me just go and drop trivia while we're on off topic a little bit. Trivia question is not going to be OU related tonight. It's the last day of the month. 918. You've got this wrapped up in the bag, okay? But here's the question. Storm was great. Here's the question. Tom Brady, you mentioned his name a little bit ago, Hunter. Tom Brady, what NFL team does he have the most losses to? What NFL team does Tom Brady have the most losses to? Gemini was great. Yeah, Larry Zonka was. Brian, you're right. Not the Giants. 4 losses to the Giants. That's a pretty good amount. Not the Colts. There it is. Tone Loc with a point. 12 losses to the Dolphins. And I know they're a division team, but 24-12 versus the Dolphins. I wouldn't have guessed the Dolphins, Hunter.
That wasn't my first guess, but again, it's a divisional team. You're playing them 2 times a year. Bound to happen, I think, really now thinking about it, the 3 teams that he faced for, 20 years? I mean, he was in the league forever. The Dolphins probably had the most consistent amount of success. The Jets they really only had a few good years and then a lot of bad years. The Bills, more of a recent thing for them to be as good as they have been. So,
the whole American Gladiator thing, I know they have American Ninja Warrior now. And those guys and gals that do that.
I used to watch it every week.
Those guys and ladies that do that are awesome. But let me say something. It's not American Gladiators. You're not going against somebody who's trying to destroy you. It's a little different. It's you versus the gauntlet, you versus the setup. Gladiator was a little different. It was a little different. You had somebody coming in.
Didn't they bring it back? Did they bring it back recently?
Not that I know of. If they did, it wasn't any good. I didn't watch it because it wasn't any good. 16-4 versus the Colts. Yeah, it is totally different. I'd agree. Let me see if I can find it. Fit with Fry says, I cannot imagine another season like 2 of the last 3. I have to spend the big bucks. I agree. I'm ready for things to change. Fit with Fry. I'm ready for a playoff. I'm in a playoff drought as an OU fan. We need to make a playoff as OU fans. It needs to happen. Jenna says they did a few years ago and it tanked. I
remember watching an episode or so, maybe a couple that few years back.
Yeah. Titan. Yeah, there's some good stuff. Was that Jeremy that dropped Home Run Derby in here?
Yeah, it was. Did you watch the Stone Cold Steve Austin show, Jay?
Did not.
It was on CMT a few years back.
Did not. No. Let me see if I can find this. For us to make the playoffs, what players on both sides need to step up or have a good year? Okay. Well, the obvious answer is going to be John Mateer has to have a really good year. Okay. The second obvious answer, maybe even more important than John Mateer, is going to be, and I'm not going to say one person's name, the O-line, period. The O-line has to be good for this team to make the playoffs. They have to be really good. And I'm talking really good. And then defensively, they need a defensive back to actually, it would be nice for 2 of them, but they need to have defensive backs need to step up. I think, I know you're not playing, there's a lot of new quarterbacks, but when you go against Nussmeier, Arch Manning, your defensive backs got to be a little more solidified than what they've been, I thought, last year.
I think they're good at 3 out of the 4 positions right now. I think the one question is the defensive back or cornerback opposite.
I agree.
Eli Bowen. I mean,
I agree.
Eli's going to be on one end. Peyton and RobertSpears-Jennings, you would imagine, are going to be the safeties. Kendall Dolby, if he's able to come back and be as good as he was over the last year and a half that he was making big-time plays for OU, also going to be in the mix there at either nickel, cheetah, somewhere in there. If Gentry Williams can stay healthy, now when he's healthy, he's great. That's the big question is the health. I mean, he's had so many different injuries. Now you're starting to get to the point of more so, is it going to start to stack up to where, okay, even if he is healthy, he's had so many different things go wrong with the shoulders and everything else. How much production are you going to get out of him?
Yeah, and Mark, that's a funny comment. The photographic part's hilarious. Hey, Sooner fan says this, and it brought something up, okay? Sooner fan said, debt tax OU secondary getting burned in crunch time. Probably we talked about next year, if OU wants to make the playoffs, the thing that's to change the most, to me, it's not even a player. Here's why it's to change the most. Because in 3 years under Brent Venables, I can count maybe on a few occasions, Texas with Dylan Gabriel, where they made plays when they had to have them. Like, that's That has been lacking. Like, back in the day when Lincoln was there, it's like they got to go score, Baker, whoever was, they were going to go score. Like they would make the play. Okay. They haven't really had that where it's like you got to have something bow up and make a play. You could even say defensively that year they went 10-2. OSU and Kansas. They did bow up, got some turnovers there on defense. Ethan Downs had the pick against Kansas, and what happened? You couldn't move the ball to go score. It's not only in crunch time, it's situational play calling. Even under Jeff Lebby was not very good. He was a really good OC, but situational 3rd and 4, go back to the OSU, 4th and 4 with Jake Stoops, bad call. I mean,
it was specifically those 2 losses in 23 where it was really bad situationally. I mean, maybe even you can go back a little bit into the year before, but those 2 games are where it really stood out. As you mentioned, defense got the turnover against Kansas. At that point, you should win that game. You should be able to get enough first downs to run out the clock. You have a lead there. Win that game. They weren't able to do it. They lost. And then Oklahoma State, I mean, you got to be able to convert. You have to. Yeah. I mean, that can't be your play call there. That's what it was, and they lost the game. So,
yeah, and hey, I got to say this, and your opinion on her, and then everybody in the chat as well. How confident are you with Troy Everett as your center?
Think of all their options. That's
no, I'm not saying all their options. I'm not saying options. I'm saying as going into the year and he's your guy. Are you confident with him being the guy?
I think he's probably in that conversation as the best returning lineman they have.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm saying don't compare it to the OU's offensive line. Just saying for him in general as a center at OU, are you confident in the SEC with that?
I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be elite best center in the conference or anything like that, but I think you give
he'll
him,
get the job done, guy.
Yes, I think so. I think he was good last year for coming in a few games.
He was injured too, though. He was injured too.
Injuries, all of that. That's what I'm getting at. It was a bad offensive line all around. I mean, they had so many different rotations through those first few weeks, and I mean, it progressed even more as more and more guys got injured there. So if he's healthy,
crazy. Yeah. It's crazy though, because last year you and Jerm on the Bates stuff, Josh Bates.
Oh, he transferred.
I know, but it was like everybody thought he was going to be the guy at OU for center for the next few years. And
it's strange, man. I mean, that happens. It happens at just about every position. And as Chuck said, the line got better once Troy Everett was able to get healthy.
Yeah. Hickman was a major disappointment. You can go down the list. Hickman, Garrett Hatchett got injured. He didn't do anything. He transferred to OU and then he transferred again. Didn't really do anything. Hickman, Hatchett. I mean, you can go down the list. Tarquin was okay. He wasn't anything to write home about. Spencer Brown. Look at that 4 offensive linemen last year that they got. They didn't do anything. You're not going to win. You can't miss that bad in the portal. You can't.
They did. I mean, and that is one of the many reasons why the O-line was not good last year.
And they will be better, Sooner Freak. Yes, they will be better.
Hard not to be. Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but you did, so go with that. I mean,
they're going to be better, and they got some dudes, young dudes.
They do. It's just guys having to prove it. I think the biggest concern is the tackles. I mean, Logan Howland had surgery this offseason. Not sure on his timetable, but something upper body, I believe, shoulder there. I mean, Jacob Sexton and Jake Taylor now have had a lot of injuries in there. Now, I guess it's 3 years at OU, both redshirt sophomores. That injury bug has gotten them, and I mean, it's when you're looking at leg injuries, it's hard for a lineman to come back from that and to be as good as they once were. when now you're getting to the area of it's been multiple there. So I think that's a big concern. But they have Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje as well, 2 young guys. But again, Bill Beatonbow doesn't play freshman a whole lot. So
yeah. Hey, I got to say something. I got to say something, Matt. I know you're on there all the time and you do these crazy comments. And first off, think about what you just put in here, Matt. You put OU secondary will give up 90 touchdowns next season. Matt, that's equivalent to 7 touchdowns a game by the secondary. Think about what you typed in there. Hey, think about what you type in the chat. Come on, Matt. Be better. Be better, Matt. Think about it. 7 touchdowns a game. Come on now.
At least put a disclaimer that you're joking. And it's not possible, Ron. Like, come on. Like, seriously.
7 touchdowns a game in the air.
Yeah.
Love you, Matt. Love you. Every night, man. Joins us every night and always has some crazy takes. Hey, we're here for it. Your opinion. If that's your opinion, go for it. There was a comment I was going to get to. Let me see if I can find it. That's not happening, Lane. They won't bring that back out. And Johnny says he's not getting his hopes until I see gameplay. I'm with you, Johnny. I'm not going to do it. And Hunter, if I do, tell me to chill, okay? Because every year as the season gets closer, I get a little more confident.
I think you're fairly level-headed, Jay.
I'm fairly level-headed, but I still get a little more confident when the season gets closer. I smell football in the air, and I just want to. I want a playoff berth. I just want to. Yeah.
I think for the most part you're safe. Jeremy, maybe not. He tends to go down that route a little bit more.
Joe says I will. I will.
Maybe.
So do we beat Michigan?
I don't think you will.
Too early to say.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even know what Michigan is yet, so I got to see Michigan too.
If I was picking that game, I would say Michigan probably wins it. But again, it's January 31st. I mean, neither team has had spring ball yet. They haven't even had winter workouts completely wrapped up yet. Long way to go before Michigan is in Norman.
Hey, before we close tonight, I see Zias put and Colin are talking back and forth about the offensive line. Zias says Dent, Fabechi, Troy Everett, EPL, and Fasusi. I like that. A lot of young players in there. I like playing young guys. How ready are they for SEC play? That's what you'd have to find out. I don't know. I just hope they figure out the 5 early and go with it. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I'm hoping for. And Jay says, Jay, it's nothing wrong with giving our team and coaches good vibes. I'm not saying there is, Chuck, but I don't like to be disappointed either. So when I get my hopes up and then they lay egg, I get disappointed. I'm a fan.
End it on a hot take tonight, Jay. Look at this one. Oklahoma puts up 50 on Texas and runs them out of the game. If that's the case, again, I think OU is going to have a very good year if they're doing that in the Red River rivalry. I mean,
question of the night right here. Question of the night from Lane. Lane, let me just tell you, Jeremy and I, after high school, obviously.
Don't even say you would strike 3 pitches, you're gone.
Hunter, let me finish. Listen. Me and
Jeremy were it's the truth.
Hunter, Jeremy and I were state softball champions. Okay. Slow pitch, but we played quite a bit of softball. Then we played fast pitch softball. I've played fast pitch softball. Hunter, have you?
I have not. I'm not trying to claim that I can.
I have, Hunter. And you know what? Hunter, you know what?
In the country.
Lane is asking, could I get a hit? No. I could bunt, though, and I promise you I'd lay down a bunt.
I could bunt.
Oh, Hunter, I could lay down a bunt, I promise you.
I don't think you could.
There's no chance I'm going to hit it because curve, rise, I don't know what's coming. I'd be whiffing. I would just square around and see what I could do.
So it's going to be right down the middle on a bunt?
No, I'd probably foul it off. But I'm just saying I'm making contact. I'm squaring around, and I'm bunting that thing. Landry's really good. Landry's going to have a great year at Oklahoma. I'm excited. And the truth of the answer is I probably wouldn't hit it. I probably wouldn't whiff. But I would try to bunt. That'd be what I'd do going in. Try to lay down bunt. Yeah, the Rise are nasty. Rise are nasty. Hey, Chuck, I'm not even gonna. Hey, I'm not picking a record for Oklahoma yet. I'm gonna wait till closer to the season to throw my prediction out there. It's too early. I got to see some things. But you know what? I hope it's a great year for Oklahoma. I hope Brent Venables has that defense #1 in the country. I hope they win 9 games and make the playoff. That would be a great year. Let's hope.
I don't think anyone here is hoping that they have another bad year, other than maybe a few people. Not going to go into names, but there are a few that they might legitimately want that because of that's just the route they've chose to go on. But
hey, yeah, and before we close, I got to say something. The viewers are not always my opinions. Me and Hunter and the viewers have different opinions, Chuck. Just because a viewer says it doesn't mean the Sooner Surge said it, okay? So I just got to say that. But some of these comments are hilarious. I wish Mateer becomes our 9th Heisman and Robinson breaks 2,100 yards. I am interested in the running back room, but we'll talk about that another day. That's a whole nother situation. But anything else, Hunter, before we close tonight?
No, that's it.
No. Jeremy will be back tomorrow night. Jeremy was helping our dad move facilities, assisted living, so he's still doing that. Hunter jumped on. Appreciate Hunter jumping on tonight for that. It's been fun. It's been a good night. Tomorrow, big game in Norman. Get out there. OU got to win this game against Vanderbilt. Got to get the victory. Go to Lloyd Noble Center. If you're in Norman tomorrow for OU basketball, get the victory. Let's try to get this team in the big dance. If they don't win tomorrow, they're done. So, hey, appreciate you joining us. Check out the Fan Stop. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.